Good evening, everyone. Sorry for the delay in setup. I'm going to talk about graphs and graphics in Ruby. I'm Radamanthus Batnag. You can find me as at Radamanthus on Twitter, GitHub, and most other online places. A little bit about me. I worked here at Illogica for 2 years, 2011 to 2013. And I'm currently working remotely for TradeGecko, a Singaporean startup. Just like everyone, we're hiring. Anyway, enough about that. I'll talk about graphs with graph. This is an old gem, and you probably haven't used it for good reason, because most of the time, if you're generating graphs, you use JavaScript. And for most cases, that's the right tool for the job. But I'll talk a bit about a case where I used this for a small project. So Graph is a Ruby gem. It requires R magic and all the headaches that it involves, Xcode and image magic and all that. But you usually have that set up if you're doing Rails development anyways. So if you have that, just gem install Graph. It's an old project. Haven't had a commit for 2 years now. So if you're looking for some open source contributions, just update this for Ruby 2.5 and delete the Ruby gems. There you go, you have your open source contribution. But it's still very useful as is. Like if you want to generate a pie chart, it's just this 16 lines, and you'll get this. But again, most of the time, you'll do this thing with JavaScript. It can do line graphs, bar graphs, the typical kinds of graphs. So this is the case where I was able to use it. I was analyzing hundreds of lines like this. And any guess what this is? I'll give you stickers if you can guess. So I was analyzing the memory usage of unicorn workers. So I just created a script to get the memory usage of each running worker, and then log the timestamp, and then the bit. And then, so I just wanted to see it's probably better to show. So I wanted to see when the application starts, how much memory does it use? And then we know that sometimes your application spikes in memory usage. So when it spikes, how big does it spike to? And so instead of doing some number crunching on these log, I just graphed it and then looked at the graph. So it's a lot simpler. You can see that it's for most of the time it's stable at 380 megabytes, but sometimes it spikes up to 750 megabytes. So this is another graph, same application. So again, you see this 480 MB or 330 MB, and then the spike here. So a little bit about what I'm doing here. So any questions about that? You can always interrupt me.
When it spikes up and it stops there, is that because that process was killed?
Yes.
Okay.
So a little bit about what I was doing here. I was helping a friend tune his AWS instances. He knows that they're over-provisioned, and he'd like to downsize them. But he doesn't know how over-provisioned they are. And so if he doesn't know how over-provisioned they are, he cannot determine to what size he can downsize to. And so we did this analysis to determine the typical size of the unicorn workers. And then this is obviously a fluke. We can kill the workers if it. This is the normal worker, and this is a bad worker that can be killed. So we can determine that. Let's kill workers when they hit 600 megabytes. And so we implemented a monet script that watches the workers and kills them if they're beyond 600 megabytes. And so we were able to downsize to half their. They were running 2x large in AWS, and we downsized to 2 large instances. C3 2x, we downsized to 2 C3 large. So they saved like $500 a month.
Nice work.
So there. I could have done this in JavaScript. I'm just a better Ruby programmer. And so yeah, the graphing part was like 10 minutes. So if you want to do some graphing and some log files, and if you're a better Ruby programmer than a JavaScript programmer, then there's graph.
I'm guessing that was too much data for a spreadsheet.
Yes. Yes, it's also much faster than doing this in Excel.
Excel chokes at
So that's graph, and the next one is simple graphics using Ruby 2D. Again, this is another gem. It's a newer one, not old like graph. It's based on Simple 2D, and Simple 2D is based on SDL, which is based on OpenGL. So it's available on Mac, Linux, Windows. So theoretically, your Ruby 2D application can run on Windows, Mac, and Linux. And it can also transpile to JavaScript, so you can also run it on the web. And after you've done the binaries, reinstall Simple 2D, installing it is as simple as gem install. So here's a simple program. And with these 10 lines, you can draw a triangle with text on the screen. I'll show you later. I'll do a demo in a bit. So it can do primitive shapes, lines, circles, polygons, text, sprites, and audio. So if your mind is thinking ahead, yes, it can do simple games. This is inspired by, Ruby 2D is inspired by Lua 2D, which is a framework for writing games in Lua. Any guess what this is? Math nerds.
That's the, what's it called?
How many triangles?
Yes. It's a serpentine triangle. So just a bit of a story. This is what got me into programming a long time ago, and programming is just being able to put a dot on the screen is a huge achievement. So this is a Sierpinski triangle. It's a fractal. You make a triangle and then find the midpoints and then make an inner triangle and then again make inner triangles. So this is 2 iterations. This is, I don't know, I think 3 iterations. I have this on GitHub. So I'll show you the program. Is this big enough? There you go. So this is the hello. I showed this already. Let's run it. So to run it, you just run it just like a ordinary Ruby program, and there you go. This is the, let's run the Sierpinski. There you go. That's very good. 6 iterations. Maybe I can handle it. Oh, that was fast. And I'll show you the program. So it's like, for those of you old enough to know Turbo C and Turbo Pascal. So it's as simple as you can draw a dot here or draw a line from this X position to this Y position, from this XY to this other XY position. And yeah, the rest is just the logic for drawing the fractal. And this is the Ruby option parsing. And that's it. The Ruby 3D programs always do a show. So that's the program, and I think I am done. Questions?
Do you review with your kids?
No.
Have they expressed any interest in programming?
Yes,
What do you teach them?
but
Or you don't teach them?
I teach them if they ask me to.
Uh-huh.
So my kids are 13 and 14,
Okay.
and yes, this is the stage where they're thinking what they want to do later in life. But I'd like them to. I know that the father, my kids are 2 boys, and I know that fathers have a very strong influence on what the kids want to do, but I want them to find their own path, and so I'm doing my best to not influence them. I know that I'm already influencing them, even if I'm not doing anything. So yes, I will teach them if they ask me, but I don't do any other efforts to do so. So yeah, this is what got me into programming a long time ago, and I was just playing with it recently, and that's why I wanted to share it. And my plan here is to do some more fractals, and then I'm planning to learn Rust sometime soon, and I plan to also practice on these things.
Is there a Rust library that drives those same programs?
I have not yet searched, but I know that there are Rust game libraries, so I guess there's a simple Rust wrapper also for Simple 2D.
What JavaScript libraries do you use for like graphics type stuff?
I'm not a very good JavaScript programmer. I know that graph is better done most of the time using D3.js.
Yeah.
For graphics, again, yeah, I haven't.
So you just
Right,
like more
it-
simplistic graphics like charts and
Yes, yes.
lines. Okay. Also, did you ever figure out why that unicorn worker was spiking in memory? You just decided to kill them off every time.
Typically, it's because if the worker spikes in memory size if it processes a lot of data, like it loads a lot of stuff in the database. Typically, if you're producing a report.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in my friend's case, that's the situation. The application generates a report, and so it reads a lot of data from the database and then produces a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
And so while the PDF is being generated, all those data is held in memory.
Okay. And then never did the garbage collection to reduce the worker size?
My observation is unicorn workers grow in size and don't shrink. Just kill them. So yeah, I used to work at Engineered, and we help our clients tune their web applications, and this is a typical problem. You have to, they just need to control the memory usage of their workers, and we do it with Monit. We have a script that tracks the memory usage of the workers and then kills them if they hit a certain size.
Do they kill it immediately? Because if you're running a report, then you don't want
So
the-
you can do a gentle kill, and then with Monit you can also do like if the worker is at this size for this number of cycles, then do a gentle kill. And then if it's at this size for this certain number of workers, let's say if the worker hits 500 MB for 4 cycles, do a kill quick. But if it hits 700 MB for 10 cycles, then do a harsher kill. And then do a kill 9. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.